again, we are here to make for you some delicious food. Now today, it's time for a main entrance. In fact, this is your whole meal in one. This is the famous taco dinner, accomplished easily inside of 30 minutes. First of all, you have the vegetable aspect, then you have the ground beef. Now, since the ground beef takes a while to brown and to cook with the taco sauce, we first have to start with the ground beef, because while the ground beef is simmering, you can chop up the vegetables. Now, remember, this is an important part of your thinking through meal preparation. If you can streamline and increase what you're doing, multitask, as they say these days, then that will help you get your meal done in a shorter amount of time. Here we go. First, we have 1 pound of ground beef. And I have a 2-pound package here, so I'm going to pop it open. Put it in the frying pan, which has not been turned on yet. Turn it on. Add about a medium heat. I'm going to break it apart so that you have plenty of pieces. In fact, this is just the beginning, and don't be grossed out by it, because you have to get used to using your hands with gross things like meat. This is just part of the preparation process. Now, you're breaking it up in small pieces, and definitely keep your hands washed and clean as much as possible, because those germs can pass very easily into other people's food or into your mouth. Generally these days, meat is prepared under strict guidelines, so you're not going to have any strange diseases coming from it, but you never know. So we let that go, and while it's getting ready to brown, we will start cutting up vegetables. We chop up our lettuce. I just have a regular head of iceberg lettuce. You can use your own lettuce and tear it up in pieces and put it in a salad bowl so that you can have taco salad. It doesn't have to be cut with a knife. It's only a quick way of doing it. And then you kind of break it up in smaller pieces as you put it in the bowl. This is a quick way of doing it. Some of you don't like this kind of lettuce and would prefer the darker green variety, and it's fine. Next thing I'm going to do is the green pepper. Now the green pepper, I've already rinsed it off. Make sure you do rinse off your vegetables. Cut it down the side, around to the other side, not all the way through. You've got seeds in the middle. Break it open, and then you may want to cut around the edge. Don't use this giant knife. That's way too big of a knife to use. Use a small knife and cut around the top of it to get the middle part out, and then you throw it in the trash can. Pull out the skin on the inside, that, I can't remember what they call that. Pull out that little white part in the middle and take all the seeds out and rinse it. Then you proceed with your handy dandy knife to cut it into strips first. Notice how I'm using a motion that I've learned from my sister and daughter. You go down, then you go forward as you use this type of knife. And ask your good cooking friends what this kind of knife is called. I cannot read that out. Okay, next we chop it up into small pieces, and this is just for putting on your tacos. So you can actually do whatever you want. You don't have to have green pepper. This is just something that we like to have, and I might actually make salsa with the leftover pieces, because you can make a yummy homemade salsa with this leftover pieces of green pepper once you get done chopping up the whole thing. Okay? Don't have big as you like, but I make them pretty small, so people don't have to have too much. And then notice I have the bowls over here ready to go. So I'm going to put the green pepper in the bowl. Next thing we do is our onion. Our onion needs to have the skin taken off of it. This is how you take the skin off of an onion. This is one way you can do it. You use this little knife and you cut off the bottom Put it in the trash can. Then you cut off the other end, put it in the trash can. Then you take the skin off. And I just realized that I started doing the onions and we were talking about not doing it. Let me tell you a secret to keeping from crying very much with your onions. Keep them in the refrigerator if you have room. It really does save some tears. I've had a wonderful, wonderful time having my onions in the refrigerator. Cut it in half. Then you cut it in strips, straight down. Then I think one onion, half is probably sufficient if it's a medium onion. Then you do it across that. And you can make them as small as you want. Now, here comes the ground beef. So, ground beef has to be turned and cut at the same time. It's getting brown on the other side. As it gets brown on the other side, you can just flip it over and keep working with it. I like to use this kind of knife. It's got serrated edge. It's a really nice knife. My daughter sold it to me. Then we're going to throw the trash later on. Then after we've done that, we cut it again. I like to cut it again down the middle, and then like this down, sort of like we did the onion, but not quite as small because it'll get too juicy all over the place. Then I like cut it one more time across the other way. All right, here we are, and we finished browning the ground beef, and now we're going to drain the fat. Can you see the fat there? We're going to drain that off of the ground beef. Now it's that you put it in, it won't melt because it's very hot. And I'm going to put it right in this cup. One time I thought that it was apple juice and I almost drank it. It wasn't apple juice, it was nasty fat. So here we go, we're draining it off. I'm putting the lid over the edge of the meat and I'm going to pour it in there. Oh, sick, all that yellow fat. Just think you're saving your veins from that. Okay, now done with the ground beef. We're going to use the directions. You might have a different version, but this is from the handy dandy Aldi version. This makes 12 taco shells. We're using those, and we like soft stuff, so we like to use those instead. So we put in the powder, the mix, then we add 3/4 of a cup about of water. Basically, you can put just approximately 3/4 of a cup. Okay, notice that the burner is still on, and we're heating it up, and we're going to stir it with a wooden spoon. Then we turn it down to low. All right, and we're going to let it sit for 15 minutes. So we set the timer 15 minutes and start it. Now, I just want to show you that here's the amount of food that I made, but you can add to it according to however many people you're going to have. Just look on your powdered taco mix and see how many people or how many pounds of meat you need and approximately how many people it will serve. And you have, adios!